So we've said before that the Holy Spirit has her own use of language, of word symbols, and particularly the meaning that the Holy Spirit gives to various symbols. And always is it helpful to understand the Holy Spirit's meaning, to think of it in terms of what does it mean from the creator's perspective. And so in this session, we'll look at what is meant by the situation, by the relationship, and by the goal. For these have very specific intentionalities, holy purposes, which are far different, obviously, than the way the ego interprets them, and will help to make things much more clear if these are clear in your mind of what the Holy Spirit means. And so our section for this reading is entitled The Call for Faith. This is Miracles on High Plains. My name is Jonica, and our reader for this session is David. We are going to go back one paragraph from the previous section before we go on to the new reading. Oh, did I fool you there, David?
What?
Oh, go ahead.
The ego seeks to split off segments of the situation and deal with them separately, for it has faith in separation and not in wholeness. Confronted with any aspect of the situation that seems to be difficult, the ego will attempt to take this aspect elsewhere and resolve it there. And it will seem to be successful, except that this attempt conflicts with unity and must obscure the goal of truth. And peace will not be experienced except in fantasy. Truth has not come because faith has been denied, being withheld from where it rightfully belonged. Thus do you lose the understanding of the situation the goal of truth would bring. For fantasy solutions bring but the illusion of experience, and the illusion of peace is not the condition in which truth can enter.
Mhm. So this is from the previous section. And notice that it refers to the situation several times, as well as it will again refer to that. And we meet the meaning here is the situation as the Holy Spirit perceives it. And the Holy Spirit perceives every encounter as a holy encounter. It's a holy instant, a miraculous moment waiting to occur if you are willing to be guided by the Holy Spirit. And so the situation is an opportunity for a holy encounter. It involves, do not lose the understanding of the situation that the goal of truth would bring. Now, there's a reference here to the goal, the Holy Spirit's goal, which involves truth, which involves peace, which involves healing, which entails a holy encounter. And so every encounter is a situation where the goal of truth can prevail if we are miracle minded and remain faithful, regardless of what the other person may say or do. If we keep our eye on the light and the purpose of why are we there and remain faithful, then that situation can be used for healing towards the goal of truth. Obviously, things don't always go that way. And the reference here of the ego attempts to take this situation elsewhere and resolve it there. For in other words, the ego would try to take it out of the present moment and into some other illusory, either past or future, where a guidance from the Holy Spirit is ignored, and instead we rely on past experience and react in default mode. So that's the context of what we're talking about today, is these opportunities for situations to serve the goal of truth.
The substitutes for aspects of the situation are the witnesses to your lack of faith. They demonstrate that you did not believe the situation and the problem were in the same place. The problem was the lack of faith, and it is this you demonstrate when you remove it from the source and place it elsewhere. As a result, you do not see the problem. Had you not lacked faith that it could be solved, the problem would be gone, and the situation would have been meaningful to you because the interference in the way of understanding would have been removed. To remove the problem elsewhere is to keep it, for you remove yourself from it and make it unsolvable.
Mm-hmm. So, as is often the case, it's going to highlight the ego condition first, where let me identify the problem so it can be solved. Because if you're unaware, if you're totally asleep to the ego's guidance prevailing in your consciousness, you don't even see the interference patterns, then you cannot turn those interferences over to the Holy Spirit. So we must be willing to see them. And so the reference here is to the problem. The problem is not created by the situation. Like, let's say you have a flat tire on the highway. Typically, we would call that a problem. The problem is not determined by the situation. The problem, according to the Holy Spirit, is one of loss of faith, because all situations can be used for learning and for good if we maintain faith that Holy Spirit's guidance can teach us an important lesson. That's all situations. But if you lose faith, then you'll assume that the real problem, it has nothing to do with your faith, but the real problem is something in the circumstances, the timing, the place, the people, or some other external factors will be viewed as the reason why I'm not enjoying myself and I'm unhappy is because there's a problem with the situation around me. That's the way the ego would view it. That's the way it would have us judge our encounters as being problems because they're not to our liking for any of the reasons we just mentioned. And so the first step towards healing is to recognize the problem so it can be solved. The problem is only when our faith wavers. We might start out in a faithful mindset, but then some disruption or something unexpected comes along, and we allow our attention to drift away from faith and spirit guidance. That's the problem, is drifting away from spirit guidance. David?
There is no problem in any situation that faith will not solve. There is no shift in any aspect of the problem but will make solution impossible. For if you shift part of the problem elsewhere, the meaning of the problem must be lost. and the solution to the problem is inherent in its meaning. Is it not possible that all your problems have been solved, but you have removed yourself from the solution? Yet faith must be where something has been done and where you see it done.
Finally, as David was reading this, now I finally get a sense of what they're talking about when it says the solution to the problem is inherent in its meaning. So honestly, in reading this before the session, I read that maybe 3 times, and I just said, I don't grok it. What I don't get what they're talking about, but I do right now in this moment, and that is the meaning of the problem is a loss of faith, and the solution to the problem, loss of faith, is inherent in its meaning. The solution to the problem is obviously to keep the faith. It's built into the definition. Problem is loss of faith, and therefore the solution to that is obvious. You need faith. And now we're going to take this idea of a problem to another level. So we start out with that understanding of loss of faith. The solution is to retain the faith. Is it not possible that all your problems have been solved and that you've removed yourself from the solution? You see yourself as outside of the solution, which is what faith can do, and you're viewing yourself from a faithless point of view. Well, from a faithless point of view, can you see how everything looks like a problem? But if you bring yourself back into a faithful point of view, it's possible that you realize that there is no problem. They've all been solved. And so this is a perspective the Holy Spirit has, and she's very kind and gentle with us when we're going through all our travails and our confusion, thinking problems are here and there. She realized there is no problem if you would just step back into the faith, the circle of faith. And so this is really the title for this section is the call of faith. And this is what it's about. When you think there's a problem, step towards the circle of faith, the circle of light and truth. For in that perspective, which the Holy Spirit sponsors, there is no problem. We'll go on.
I don't want to, can I just editorialize 1 minute?
Sure.
There's never a problem. There is never a problem. It's only my ego's perspective that presents it as a problem.
Exactly.
A situation is a relationship, being the joining of thoughts. If problems are perceived, it is because the thoughts are judged to be in conflict. But if the goal is truth, this is impossible. Some idea of bodies must have entered, for minds cannot attack. The thought of bodies is the sign of faithlessness, for bodies cannot solve anything. It is their intrusion on the relationship, an error in your thoughts about the situation, which then becomes the justification for your lack of faith. You will make this error, but be not at all concerned with that. The error does not matter. Faithlessness brought to faith will never interfere with truth, but faithlessness used against truth will always destroy faith. If you lack faith, ask that it be restored where it was lost, and seek not to have it made up to you elsewhere, as if you had been unjustly deprived of it. Only what you have not given can be lacking in any situation.
Hmm. Wow, that last line is so profound because this is a course about giving to have all, give all to all. Only, but if you don't give, that's what winds up being the missing ingredient. If you don't give your faith to a situation. So several important points here, and I don't want to miss any of them. First of all, from the Holy Spirit's point of view, what do we mean by a situation? A situation is a relationship. It can be with any member of creation. And it exists not at the physical level of blood and flesh and cells and tissues, but on the level of the holy mind. It's the joining of thoughts. It's two minds that share a common thought, a common purpose, a common light. It's coming together of two or more in a relationship. That's what we mean by a situation. To the Holy Spirit, everything is about those kind of situations where holy encounters do occur and where miracles occur. That's what this program is all about, is helping us to be alert to the opportunities when a holy encounter occurs, realize it's a situation to join our minds together in a common purpose, regardless of the form. Opposing that on the ego side is, as we said a moment ago, a loss of faith, and particularly something to be aware of is one where you attempt to justify your lack of faith. Warning, warning, this is something we might do and not even know it, where let's say you decide, what kind of day did you have? Oh, I had a terrible day. Why did you have a terrible day? Oh, it was supposed to be sunny and it rained. I left early and I arrived late, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these justifications for not believing that everything that the Holy Spirit has planned for you will work out just fine if you keep the faith. So this is an error. You will make this error of justifying your lack of faith. But know that that is just like a passing cloud. A moment of faithlessness brought into the circle of faith, the faithlessness disappears immediately. It's like a shadow being brought into a room of light. The shadow dissipates instantly. So will and can never interfere with truth. But what can interfere with truth? It's when faithlessness is used as a weapon, when the mind is determined to justify that I have every reason to be upset. I have every reason to be unhappy and to lose hope. I'm justified in my anger and my despair. That's an act of will, which is an error, but that will effectively block your awareness of faith. And when that happens, it's important that you change your mind And because only you can change your mind, if that you change your mind and ask that faith be restored. So bringing us back to that final line, the only thing that lacks in any situation, that, by the way, just recall the ego believes that all of us are lacking in everything in this world. That's its primary tenet, that woe is me, I feel deprived. So the only thing that can be lacking in any situation is our unwillingness to give our faith to it. Therefore, the Holy Spirit's first lesson, to have faith, give all to all, give your faith to every and all situation. We'll go on.
Only what you have not given can be lacking in any situation. But remember this: the goal of holiness was set for your relationship, and not by you. You did not set it because holiness cannot be seen except through faith. And your relationship was not holy because your faith in your brother was so limited and little. Your faith must grow to meet the goal that has been set. The goal's reality will call this forth, for you will see that peace and faith will not come separately. What situation can you be in without faith and remain faithful to your brother?
Mhm. I had a really profound aha gift. My mind, in listening to this on audio, this paragraph today, my mind opened. The doors to my awareness that may have been partially closed were all of a sudden opened. And here's what I got. First of all, what is the Holy Spirit's goal? It's a goal of holiness. The context of that is our divine relationship with all creation. Again, if you want to really grok this, you would do well to view it the way the Creator views all creation. The Creator has a goal for there to be holiness throughout all of creation. Perfect unity, perfect harmony, perfect love everywhere throughout all creation. And that is the Holy Spirit's goal. Holy Spirit's a messenger for the Creator. And so remember this: the goal of holiness was set for your relationship. It was set for you in your relationship to all of creation, but this was not done by you. You and I did not originate such a goal, but it was done for us long before we were born into this world. And since we did not set it, the holiness cannot be seen except through faith. This is intangible, and therefore this is really the profound part. In order for us to fully appreciate the goal which the Creator has for us all, our faith must grow to meet the goal that has been set. You cannot rely on yesterday's faith or your mental understanding of the course or your memory of passages or anything else. None of that is going to elevate your awareness to understand and appreciate and love this goal. Oh, but your faith can if it continues to grow. Again, this section is called the call for faith. We need more faith so that we can open the eyes and understanding of our soul so that we can appreciate and be glad for the goal that has been given. And so, and this goal motivates all of creation, and the goal will call your faith forward. Notice this, the goal's reality, holy relationship for all creation, will call forth your faith and your peace and faith. You will see that both peace and faith come together. So let's circle back. Whoop. Didn't mean to do that. Let's circle back just for a moment and revisit what we read about in the previous section, the goal of faith. And that is when they were talking about a goal, we thought they were talking about goals that you and I come up with ourselves each and every day. You might be saying to yourself, oh, what's my goal for today? And of course, with 7 billion people in the world, there'd be maybe as many as 7 billion goals. That is not what the Holy Spirit had in mind. The Holy Spirit has in mind the divine goal that the Creator set in motion for holy relationships. And that goal, if we are to be willing to aspire to it and understand and appreciate it, that goal will literally pull our faith upward and beyond the narrow limits that it may have existed in the past. So, and with that, you can be sure miracles and blessings and holy encounters will be in abundance. So, the goal of holiness is the Creator's goal set for us in motion at the beginning of creation, and it still loudly calls forth everyone in creation. David?
Every situation in which you find yourself is but a means to meet the purpose set for your relationship. See it as something else, and you are faithless. Use not your faithlessness. Let it enter and look upon it calmly, but do not use it. Faithlessness is the servant of illusion, and wholly faithful to its master. Use it, and it will carry you straight to illusions. Be tempted not by what it offers you. It interferes, not with the goal, but with the value of the goal to you. Accept not the illusion of peace it offers, but look upon its offering and recognize it is illusion.
Mm-hmm. This is so precious, so valuable, so insightful. We're really privileged to be able to look at this together. So, first of all, big picture to the Holy Spirit, every situation in which you find yourself. I have to think that means every day of your life. Those days of your lives the Holy Spirit views as a means to fulfill the plan of creation, which is to meet the purpose set for you in your relationship with all creation every day, every situation. She's just waiting for a holy encounter to bless us with a holy encounter. Now, in all honesty, we know that we don't always walk into a situation with that in mind, right? I mean, we forget, we lose awareness. So, if you see something else in the situation, which means if you wind up imposing your own agenda, your own plan and purpose, your ego, self-centered, ego-driven motivation on a situation, then Holy Spirit will wait patiently on the side while you do your work through your own agenda, and you'll walk into that situation without faith in the Spirit. And so here's a very subtle tell that it recommends, because I'm going to suggest that in many of your best moments, a little doubt might creep in. There might be a little voice that arises in your awareness where you feel inadequate to live up to the Holy Spirit's plan. And when that happens, let it enter, but do not panic. Look upon it calmly and do not use it. For in other words, the way I can describe this, because I've experienced this, and I'm with someone and I'm in a state of inner prayer, asking the Holy Spirit for guidance. And all of a sudden, a thought arises in me that I don't know what I'm doing. And it would be possible for me to look at that thought and empower it and act as if that were true. That would be making an illusion true. What it tells us is to look at it calmly, but do not use it, to discard it, to dismiss it, to recognize that which is false is false. Only that which is true is true. And so it's a choice. Even in the situation of a holy encounter, there will be moments of choice there, brief, perhaps, moments of doubt. And you have to know that the ego is assured to want to interfere with your holy encounters. You can be certain of it. And what to do with that is to not deny that it's there, but to look at it. Let me recognize the problem so that I can dismiss it. Be tempted not by what it offers. And know, this is so profound here now. When that temptation to lose faith in spirit guidance, what happens is the goal is not the goal of holiness is in no way diminished, but what is diminished is the value of the goal to you. For in other words, if you were thinking about it in terms of directions, in one moment you're having a holy encounter and you're oriented towards trusting in faith, and all of a sudden in faithlessness you turn to in a different direction to faithlessness, and that means that you forget about the goal of holiness, the goal of truth. The value of the goal of holiness to you becomes diminished. So this is mind training, accept not the illusion that that temptation offers. Recognize that it's an illusion. And so, in summary, this is true of every miracle that has ever occurred in all of creation. There is two voices and two choices. And when the voice of temptation arises, you have to recognize, oh, there's the ego, sure enough, trying to knock me off with its fear and despair and a sense of lack of love and judgments and guilt and hopelessness, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and look upon it and recognize that it is but an illusion and has no power in this moment. So it's a matter of choice. Now, that in itself is not the miracle, but that is necessary for the miracle that you recognize the illusion has no power. The miracle happens when you then embrace the truth and the light once again.
The goal of illusion is as closely tied to faithlessness as faith to truth. If you lack faith in anyone to fulfill and perfectly his part in any situation dedicated to advance to truth, dedicated in advance to truth, your dedication is divided, and so you have been faithless to your brother and used your faithlessness against him. No relationship is holy unless its holiness goes with it everywhere. As holiness and faith go hand in hand, so must its faith go everywhere with it. The goal's reality will call forth and accomplish every miracle needed for its fulfillment. Nothing too small or too enormous, too weak or too compelling, but will be gently turned to its use and purpose. The universe will serve it gladly, as it serves the universe, but do not interfere.
Yeah, so two messages here. One, and I can tell myself here um, uh, about lacking faith in anyone to fulfill perfectly his part in any situation, dedicated in advance to truth. This is a lack of faith. This is the situation where in advance you have a brief prayer that says, Holy Spirit, I dedicate this situation to your plan for holiness. And then go into the situation, but you encounter someone for whom you deem unable or inadequate to bring about their part in the plan. It'd be like you view them as a weak player in the plan. This is a judgment. And the minute you do that, that's a lack of faith that everything will be provided. And so what it does is it divides you, it splits you, it divides your dedication. And you have been faithless to your brother and used your faithlessness against him. So this is something that does happen. It happened to me today. And I recognized it that, oh, I just withdrew faith from my brother. And then I had a brief prayer to return to a state of belief. It's like the old self still wants to creep in, even in calm and peaceful moments, and assert its justification for faithlessness. Um, so mind training is necessary. The more we train our mind, this is the bright side of it here. The reality of this goal of holiness for all creation is a power so great the creator set it in motion at the beginning of all creation, that everyone everywhere would be in a state of perfect holiness, perfect love, perfect oneness, the totality. The goal's reality will call forth and accomplish every miracle needed for its fulfillment. And as we read, the only thing that might be lacking at any point is your faith in the goal. But the truth is, if you maintain faithfulness, the universe will serve the goal gladly. Your part is that you need do nothing. Do not interfere.
The power set in you, in whom the Holy Spirit's goal has been established, is so far beyond your little conception of the infinite that you have no idea how great the strength that goes with you. And you can use this in perfect safety. Yet for all its might, so great it reaches past the stars and to the universe that lies beyond them, your little faithlessness can make it useless if you would use the faithlessness instead.
Mm-hmm. So there is a certainty that the creator's plan for all of creation has great power. And this is perhaps the best kept secret, or at least the unrecognized secret, that great power lies within us. It's a power established for us, not by us. It's so far beyond our little conception. We have no idea how great the strength that goes with us. This is where this power, being a part of the plan of the Creator's plan for atonement, is where your safety is found. Make sure that you don't allow faithlessness to be used as a weapon against this great power within.
Yet think on this and learn the cause of faithlessness. You think you hold against your brother what he has done to you, but what you really blame him for is what you did to him. It is not his past, but yours you hold against him, and you lack faith in him because of what you were. Yet you are as innocent of what you were as he is. What never was is causeless, and is not there to interfere with truth. There is no cause for faithlessness, but there is cause for faith. That cause has entered any situation that shares its purpose. The light of truth shines from the center of the situation and touches everyone to whom the situation's purpose calls. It calls to everyone. There is no situation that does not involve your whole relationship in every aspect and complete in every part. You can leave nothing of yourself outside it and keep the situation holy, for it shares the purpose of your whole relationship and derives its meaning from it.
Well, this is so profound. We are talking about the first cause of reality, the creator as the cause of everything. And every situation is an opportunity for the expression of that plan. And it can be thwarted, yes, by our faithlessness. But if we're willing to share in the goal of truth, the goal of peace, the goal of holiness, then the, that unites us with the power that the Creator placed into that plan. And so and who does it include? It touches everyone to whom the situation purpose calls. It calls to everyone. There's even in the most deadly of situations, it can manifest. There's no situation that does not invoke your whole relationship in every aspect, in every complete. A very compelling example, I'm going to depart from a course for just a second. A very compelling example of that is Viktor Frankl's book, biography, not biography, but real life story of Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, where in the concentration camps of World War II, he realized that the people that lived, because they were all starving, they were all stressed, but the people that lived were the ones that had a will to live. They had a reason to live. I want to see my grandchild be born. I want to go to my daughter's wedding or whatever. They had something in their mind that kept them going, and others who did not have a will to live succumbed to the dire physical circumstances. So he illustrates there's no situation that cannot be used for meaning and for purpose. That's obviously, a very dire extreme. I don't mean to make light of it, but to illustrate that in all circumstances, you have the potential for faithfulness. And it involves not necessarily a high consciousness of the creator's plan, but it just means to share a sense of purpose, of being in relationship with another. Again, I want to live for my daughter's wedding. I want to live for to see my grandchild. I want to live for them. It's a relationship, and that's what gives it meaning. So all situations can be used as a means of sharing the purpose of the Creator. That's why we call them holy encounters, holy relationships. We have our last paragraph here.
Enter each situation with the faith you give your brother, or you are faithless to your own relationship. Your faith will call the others to share your purpose, as the same purpose called forth the faith in you. And you will see the means you once employed to lead you to illusions transformed to means for truth. Truth calls for faith, and faith makes room for truth. When the Holy Spirit changed the purpose of your relationship by exchanging yours for His, the goal He placed there was extended to every situation in which you enter or will ever enter. and every situation was thus made free of the past, which would have made it purposeless. You call for faith because of him who walks with you in every situation. You are no longer wholly insane, nor no longer alone. For loneliness in God must be a dream. You, whose relationship shares the Holy Spirit's goal, are set apart from loneliness because the truth has come. Its call for faith is strong. Use not your faithlessness against it, for it calls you to salvation and to peace.
Mhm. So there's a reference here that will come up again that could be easy to not understand. So I want to point it out. We referred to it before, and what it is, it can be viewed as the exchange of goals. Formerly, prior to entering this program, it could have been another program. You had your own goals. You, each of us, again, over 7 billion people, over 7 billion different goals. Each of us were able to formulate independently and separately on our own. What is our goal? What do we want to do with ourselves, with this life? Well, the Course view and the Holy Spirit view your participation in this program as a choice to exchange your self-centered goals for the goal that the Holy Spirit is promoting. It's about changing your purpose of your relationship by exchanging your goal for his. And the goal the Holy Spirit placed there then is, once you make that choice to exchange your goal for his, then the Holy Spirit applies that goal to every situation. So to speak, she never sleeps. She's always available to every situation. So he placed there this higher purpose to every situation which you enter or will ever enter. And as we read just a moment ago, it applies to everyone. Every situation is thus a call for faith, made free of the past. And so there is, if you can grok this, the Creator is calling us to participate in this grand design. And being infinite, the Creator provides that every situation and every person is a participant in this grand plan. And your part is to give your faith to it. And while, yes, our faith may not be up to this grand plan just yet, know that we're growing in faith and we're rising in faith each and every time you agree to turn towards the Holy Spirit, and that this application of your faith to this plan is yours to choose. So when we say choose again, what do we mean? We mean to choose to exercise your God-given faith in the grand plan that you are called and are worthy to participate in. So I thought that this was a lovely illustration of it. Again, I am not the author of, or I did not sketch this, but I did ask for it. and it emphasizes a theme that we'll get to in a subsequent section, where not only is your faith a vital part of your movement forward on the path, but also your beliefs and your vision all work together to reinforce each other in your progression along this path. Um, and the destination is already set. The time is up to us, but the destination is set. And what awaits us on the end is a realization of the true self that we always have been, but didn't know. So that's as far as we're going to go in this section. But wow, that's really amazing to me. If you think that's amazing, clap your hands. That's really amazing.
Beautiful.
Our
Beautiful.
faith can make such a difference.
Just beautiful.
It is beautiful. So thank you for walking along the path together. It's a delight.
Thank you, Janica.
Be a part of this. And thank you all. Georgette, thank you. Noel, Paul, Cheryl, Elizabeth, David, Simon, Bob, Heather, and anyone else I may have missed. God bless you. And David, thank you for coming in and reading.
God bless you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, everyone. Thank you, Jonica.
Brilliant lesson.
It is a brilliant lesson. Jesus is a great writer.
Yes,
He's just shining with us.